Well, hi folks, people have been asking me if you can just give us a bit of a show us about your grow lights and what sort there are and which are the best to use and whatever. So I'll try and do that now. I'll just show you which ones I use, which ones I used to use and which alternatives there are. So what I use now they're called T5s, and basically all that refers to is the tubes, which are just thin fluorescent tubes. And I've got one there, a 4 foot long one with 4 tubes in. You can get them all sizes. You can get them 4 foot long with 8 tubes in. And I've got a little 2 foot long one there with 4 tubes in as well. And as you can see, if I put my hand up there, the tubes are warm, but they don't burn anything. So you can put the plants as close as you like to the tops really. So it shows how sort of efficient they are, as if there's no heat, then all the energy goes into light. And that one there is 424 watt bulbs, so that's only 96 watts, and I think this is 448 watt tubes, so that's 200 watts. So they're quite low considering how much you can grow under them. So like I said, they're the T5 ones, and I'll just give you a bit of an idea of the brightness. I've got a light meter, and I'll take it outside and show you what the light is outside. I'll try and do this with one hand. So I'll put my light meter about 6 inches below. I'll put my light meter up there, 6 inches below, which is where you can keep the top of the bulbs, and that's reading, well actually 20 plus thousand there at 6 inches. Now if I put it at the bottom, I don't know whether you can read, it's reading about 11,000 lux. Might be able to do it a bit better here, let's have a see. Same there, 20,000 at about 6 inches. And it drops down the lower you get, so I'll take it outside and I'll show you how the sort of light you're going to get outside. So I'm in the greenhouse, it's an overcast winter day, not a lot of sun about at all, so I'll just show you what sort of strength of light, what the strength of the light is at this time of year. My light meter pointed up into the sky, and that's 34 times 100, so that's 3,500 lumens or lux. So as you can see, I'm getting about 4 times that under the lights. It can get up to about 80 or 90,000 in a hot sunny day in summer, but like I say, in winter when it's like this, you're lucky to get 3,000. So I'm getting 3,500 ish. So compared to inside, not very good. So as you can see outside in a winter's dull day, you're only getting just over 3,000, and I'm getting 20 odd thousand in here, so I'm about 7 or 8 times brighter. So also, if you can see there at the bottom, they're only getting about 10,000 lux, but they're growing perfectly. The lettuce is there. So like I said, they do give a heck of a lot of light out, and because they don't give out too much heat, you can put the plants quite near to the bulbs. Now another thing you want to think about is you need to reflect as much light as you can back onto the plants. You don't really want to be wasting any. Now if you look, I've put a bit of white polystyrene there to reflect a bit back, and also on the walls I've got this stuff called diamond embossed mylar, which is a sort of professional stuff. You can use other things. Apparently it's not very advisable to use tin foil because it can cause hot spots because it doesn't reflect back properly. But another thing, apparently, if you can't get this mylar stuff, is to use flat emulsion white paint, not shiny paint, just flat emulsion, like I said, not shiny. Just paint your walls or the sides of your grow tent with some white emulsion, and that reflects back most of the light as well. Or ideally, if you can get one of these grow tents, these hydroponic grow tents that all the weed growers use, they're ideal because they're actually coated with this mylar inside. So you'll maximise all your light levels as well. So that's the T5 ones. Like I said, they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. These are just perfect for my little room. I've got a 4 foot by 1 foot, which will grow in an area of about 4 foot by 2 foot there. So you just buy the ones that'll fit your size. Now I'll show you some of the other alternatives you can get, and ones I used to use and ones I've made myself, and we'll just have a look at some of those. So what I've got here is just a little thing I knocked up actually. It's what I used to grow my chilies and my peppers and tomatoes on my window ledge. It's just too small, and again look, you can see you can grab hold of the bulbs. They're warm but they're not red hot, and they're just little 30 watt compact fluorescent bulbs. They're 30 watt, which give out the equivalent of about 150 watts of light. And if I show you what sort of light they give out, again, if I can do it, we're getting about 20,000 lux at 6 inches. So they're not far off the actual expensive ones, the T5 lights. And these are only about £4 each, these bulbs, and you just put them in a little hanger. And they're ideal for putting over your chilies and tomatoes on a window ledge. Obviously you'd put a cover on the back to reflect the light back in, but like I said, they do, you know, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Now what I used to use, you probably can't see, before the T5 ones are these. These are like giant compact fluorescent ones. These are about 150 watts and they will go up to 200 watts. But the thing is with these, the bulbs are about 25 quid each, and I've actually had one pop on me once, whereas the tubes in the T5s, they're only a couple of quid each and you can just replace them if and when they go dull. But these, they're expensive, and also they get really hot as well, so you can't put plants right next to these. And also because they're only a small area, you've got your reflective shield there which reflects them. I find that they don't give as much area per watt as the T5 tube ones. But I mean, if you can't get anything else, they're as good as anything. And another thing which I've just bought is an LED. This is actually just a ceiling fan if I plug it in. A ceiling light. And you can't tell, but that is absolutely blinding, and that is only 18 watts. I did a test on that and that's giving about 15,000 lux as well. I'll turn it off because it's blinding me. And that only cost me 8 quid, that. You see the size, and it doesn't give any heat out whatsoever. It's so efficient, all the energy just goes into the light. So what I'm going to do with these is hang these in amongst my onions as close as I like, because like I said, they don't give any heat out, so there's no chance of any scorching. But then, you know, they're worth a try. There's exactly the same spectrum as well, which is what you're looking for, 6500 K, which is 6500 Kelvin. I don't think I mentioned that before. That's actually the blue spectrum, or the cool white spectrum of the light spectrum, which is what you need to grow vegetative growth. There's another light which is a 2700 K, which is what people use for flowers. So you don't really want that to start off fruit and veg. What you want is 6500 K, or a cool white spectrum bulb. Anyway, that's my lights of all sorts of different types, and ones I used to use, ones I've made myself. Like I said, if you can't afford these big T5 ones, make your own. You can make something like that for a tenner, and you can grow. I used to grow about 20 chili plants, 20 tomato plants under that happily, and they got really bushy and stopped them growing leggy on the windowsill. Or you can get one of these, or like I said, you can go for the T5 light ones, but you need a bit of a bigger area for those. Anyway, that's it folks, just a few different ideas on indoor lighting. Hopefully it's explained a little bit, and things about the spectrum and what you're looking for. So that's it folks, I'll see you later.